Hey you guys, Coach Liz here. All right, I want you to come to the brain gym with me today. What is the brain gym? It is when we actually do some exercises for our brain to strengthen our brain muscle. It's just as important as building our muscles on our body because it helps us to be more mindful. It helps us to be more intentional with our choices. And I'd say it's even more important for long-term healthy lifestyle so that we don't go back to those old habits and gain the weight back. So there's a couple things that I want to share with you today. Last week we talked about stop, challenge, and choose. Now, stop, challenge, and choose is such a great tool to be able to help you just pause before you make a choice. Now, this can be in regards to food. If you want to make a food choice that might take you backwards with your goals, or even a choice in regards to how you react to a person or a situation or a relationship. So it's something that's very useful in your life. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about these stop, challenge, choose, and also go into what a food fallacy is and how to deal with emotional eating. Now, this here is something that I love. It is our stop, challenge, choose, and it talks about some questions that you can ask when you are stopping and thinking about a choice before you make it. So some things that you can ask yourself is, am I hungry? Would I eat something healthy instead? Would I eat some broccoli instead of this chocolate bar? Or am I thirsty? Did you know that thirst it actually feels like hunger at first? When you're thirsty, the first sign of thirst is hunger. So go get a big glass of water when you're feeling a little hungry, wait 20 minutes, and then decide if you're still hungry. Or maybe you're emotional. We're going to talk more about this blasted menu here. Maybe you're bored, lonely, angry, stressed, tired, excited, or depressed. That's why you're trying to cover up that emotion. And asking yourself, will chocolate actually fix this problem? Will it make the stress go away? Will it give me a hug? Probably not. So finding the solution of where you can find that comfort or de-stress. Or you can ask yourself, am I falling for a food fallacy? Am I wanting this because it's free? You know, the Costco samples, it's free. Do we have to have it because it's free, or a rare opportunity? That pie on Thanksgiving that you only get on Thanksgiving. Are you feeling like you have to have it because it's rare? Or maybe you're saying, I shouldn't waste food. I like to ask myself, would I rather have this go to my waste or waste it in the garbage? Especially if you're not hungry. Or you might say, I paid good money for it. I have to eat it. Or I'll be missing out on the fun if I don't eat it. Or I just love food too much. I have to eat the food. I just love food. I'm a foodie. So is that something that you've ever told yourself? Because your brain will believe it if you say it. Also asking yourself, how will I feel after I eat this? Will I feel proud of myself physically? Will I feel good physically and emotionally? How about in a year from now? Will I truly regret not eating this, or will I be proud that I stuck to my goals? Most of the time, you won't even remember that choice a year from now. So make the choices that you're going to be proud of, your future self will be proud of. Also, what do I want to have happen? What do I want most? What are my goals? So asking myself, is this moving myself forward or further away from my goals before you make that choice? So I love these questions that you can just ask yourself before you make a choice. You can practice that with your stop, challenge, and choose. And I want to dive into a little bit more of the emotional eating because I hear this a lot that people struggle with emotional eating when they're stressed, when they're bored, when they're lonely, all of those things. I've been there too. For me, it used to be when I was stressed, my brain would say, you need chocolate chips. I would go look for the chocolate chips and feel like that was going to fix my problem. And I thought that it did until I realized that chocolate wasn't fixing anything. And so I learned some tools to actually help myself in those situations. So I want to share that with you. What you'll need is a pen and paper to make your own blasted menu. And I'll show you what this looks like. So on the paper, I want you to make a big sign that says blasted down the side. And let me make this bigger. So you're going to write the word blasted down the side of your paper. And the B stands for bored, lonely, angry, stressed, tired, excited, and depressed. Those are your different emotions that we're going to address because those are like the core emotions. Yes, there's other emotions that tie into those, but these are like the core emotions that you're probably going to see most often. So when you're bored, in that section next to the B, ask yourself, next time I'm bored, instead of going to the pantry and asking myself, oh, what sounds good? How can I cover up this uncomfortable emotion of being bored? We've all felt that at the doctor's office, right? Like when you're bored and you just have to pick up your phone and scroll, that is buffering. So there's different ways to buffer. Food is a very typical way, but there's also scrolling on your phone, even sleeping, exercising, even cleaning. There's a lot of ways that you cover up an emotion. And so even things like cleaning could be unhealthy if it's to cover up an emotion. If it's keeping you from processing an emotion and learning about why you're having that emotion, then it's not healthy. So we're talking mostly about food today, but you can use this for any buffer that you feel in your life. So next time you're bored, what could you do instead of go to the pantry and find something to snack on? I want you to write some things next to that that you could actually do. This is your menu. So next time you're bored, before you go find something to eat, I would have a big glass of water. I'd come to this menu and pick something from the menu. And often, if you tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to do something here first, and then if I still want a snack, then I'll think about that. Because a lot of times, if you just say no to your brain, it kind of like throws this fit. And so, just creating space between that stimulus and response can do wonders. And I found that a craving usually only lasts for about 5 minutes, whether you feed it or not. So you can sit with the uncomfortable of really wanting that food or wanting to buffer, wanting to pick up your phone. And usually after 5 minutes, your brain like finds something else to think about. And so try that, whether you sit with the uncomfortable or you process that emotion and you do something else to fill that time. So when you're bored, here's some suggestions. You could read, you could do a workout video, you could go lay outside in the sun, you could paint your nails, you could call someone, you could clean something, you could write a letter, you could draw or paint, you could create a playlist. I like to have like things that would be relaxing or like fix the problem, like read or paint your nails or something, or a to-do list, things that you want to get done that you just never find time to. So you could put this on your list, like clean out the junk drawer, wash a few windows, sweep the porch, scrub the shower. So you could put some things that would actually help you feel accomplished, like you got something done, or you could pick something that would just like be relaxing, or enjoyable. Okay, how about lonely? You could text someone, you could compliment people, like send some compliment texts, or just go find someone to give a compliment to. You can make plans, plan a trip or something. How fun would that be when you're lonely? How about when you're angry? You want to get some frustration out. Go work out. That's a great time to go work out, burn off some energy. You could journal these feelings. You could go just get in the shower. So these are some things that might help the anger, but also add some to-do lists there. Also, how about when you're stressed? Just having a minute of silence. Make a to-do list to organize your tasks. Have a phone timeout. Go charge your phone and just like maybe go for a walk. Get something small done from your to-do list. Sometimes you're at work or in a situation that you can't go and do something. And this is a time just to take 10 deep breaths, just to like it does wonders to get some oxygen down into your stomach to de-stress you. So sometimes it's just taking a few deep breaths or walking to the drinking fountain and getting a drink of water. So put on this list what you could do when you're stressed. How about when you're tired? A 10-minute nap, a drink of water, a minute of silence. You could walk around, you could take a shower. So those are some things you could do when you're tired. How about when you're excited? You could call or text someone, you could journal, you could dance, you could sing, something that could just pour that creative energy into when you're excited. And a lot of times we don't realize that being excited is an uncomfortable emotion that maybe we don't feel very often, that our brain often wants to buffer, that often wants to cover up because it's a little bit uncomfortable, like having that energy. Also, depressed. What could you do when you're feeling down or depressed? You could journal, you could read, you could listen to a talk, a TED talk, or a church talk. You could write a grateful list, what you're grateful for. You could serve someone. That is a huge thing. Or you could just leave the situation, go somewhere, go for a walk. So just not to be alone. So those are some ideas of a blasted menu, and I really encourage you to make your own blasted menu. Write some things that you could do to become more aware of these emotions. So first, when you're having that craving, ask yourself, all right, what am I feeling? Where do I feel it? What does it feel like? What emotion is it? So name the emotion. Point out where you're feeling it. Might be like a twisting in your stomach or tightness in your chest or in your neck. So like actually figure out where you're feeling it and then shift it. Sometimes you just have to like, or like just something big that just makes that move, and then ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling stressed? Why am I feeling depressed or lonely or angry or bored? Like, if you can pinpoint what the emotion is trying to tell you, that's a way that you process it. And then you can sit with the emotion until it passes. Sometimes stress isn't going to pass. You're just going to have to deal with it and recognize that once you get that task done, it will pass. And so something you could do is just a few deep breaths. You could make a to-do list and just be more productive in getting the things done. Or sometimes just recognizing it, acknowledging that it's there, helps it to pass on. So having that menu helps you to be able to pass that space, that uncomfortable space until that craving passes. So whether you feed it or not, it will pass. So you can either sit with the uncomfortable or you can choose something off of your blasted menu to pass the time. I would love to see a picture of your blasted menu when you get it done. All right, have a great week.